Here for our thoughts on the Browns after their disastrous 45-7 loss in New England. Doug Lesmerises, Kay Cabot, Scott Patsko, Ashley Bastock, and Dan Labbe. Dan, you just dropped your coffee in the press box in New England, and you're having a disastrous day yourself. So we'll start with you. What's the big thing you're taking away from this Browns loss?
I know how the Browns feel. I mean, I like ran downstairs when we got up from postgame to get that coffee before they took it away. And now it's gone. I've lost it. Almost like, the Browns playoff hopes haven't slipped away, but this was an important game for them. From an odds standpoint, they're behind New England now. They've lost the tiebreaker. Obviously, there's a lot of things still in play and a lot of football left, but man, to show up to this place and play like they did today was about as disappointing as you can get. And it just felt like after the game, there was some soul searching going on. It was really a letdown on a lot of fronts. And I think the players felt that. I think Kevin Stefanski felt that.
Ashley, I don't think you dropped anything, but what do you think of the vibe there in New England after this one?
I didn't. I think my biggest takeaway is this team doesn't really have an identity right now, and they need to find one fast. I think, to borrow some words that Joel Bitonio said, there's a little bit of a Jekyll and Hyde thing going on with them, and I think we really saw that. I mean, you think about the peaks and the valleys from even just the last 4 weeks, and it really is kind of astounding, the highs versus the lows that this group has had. So I would say that's my biggest takeaway. They don't have an identity and they need to find it pretty fast.
Mary Kay, where's your head at? I don't know. Did you see any of this coming, Mary Kay? Or are you sort of in shock right now that it unfolded this way?
Yes, I am in shock. I really thought that it would be a very, very close game. And I thought the defense would do a really nice job against a rookie quarterback. But boy, was I impressed with Mac Jones. He's going to be really, really good. I can see where Bill Belichick was going with that whole thing. But two things that really stand out to me in this game right now, two of my biggest takeaways. Number one, Baker Mayfield has got to play better. The passing game, as we had mentioned before, that victory over the Bengals has been broken. And it's really not fixed yet. There were signs that it was still broken in Cincinnati. They got, they had starts at their 30 and their 8 after takeaways, and they stalled after those in Cincinnati. So there were signs, they had to settle for field goals. There were signs that the passing game was still struggling. So number one, Baker Mayfield has got to play better football. I don't know whether it's making better reads, making better throws, getting rid of the ball quicker, whatever the case may be. This isn't the kind of quarterback play the Browns need right now. Number two, the other thing that I think is important to note is that Myles Garrett is talking a lot about, hey, we're not making sideline adjustments. We're not making the right halftime adjustments. And in my mind, this is not the time to be talking like that. That to me feels like you're airing the team's dirty laundry publicly, and you need to stick together at a time like this. You need to close ranks, pull together. This is a really tight race, and they need to be unified during this time.
Scott, how are you feeling about this thing? Is there anything, I mean, a lot of times you're good at pulling out statistics that are really standing out to you. You don't have to go that way, but where are you right now?
Do we have enough money in the budget for me just to sing 30 seconds of Everybody Hurts? I feel like that's appropriate today.
REM will definitely sue you if you do that.
It's funny. We go from last week seeing really the first game where both sides of the ball played well to seeing this game where neither side played well. And it was even worse than they weren't even like this against the Cardinals, which I think is the other game where they really just kind of fell apart. I'm really curious to see what the DVOA and efficiency metrics are for the Browns after this game. It's going to be ugly. The Browns are just inconsistent, and especially on defense, they've been one of the most inconsistent defensive teams all season. That doesn't necessarily mean you're good or bad, but in the Browns case, it's led to losses. And this one obviously was just nothing went right, nothing worked. I mean, Jarvis Landry had, I think, one target through 3 quarters. Both sides of the ball just bad all around.
So they're running their shoebox offense right now. Everybody talks about how hard it is to score in the red zone. It's like the Browns are in the red zone all the time because their offense doesn't expand more than 20 yards of the field. Baker Mayfield had 11 completions today. According to Next Gen Stats, 2 were behind the line of scrimmage. 9 were between 1 and 10 yards. He was 0 for 7 on throws over 10 yards. They didn't complete a pass more than 10 yards down the field. That is incompetent. The receivers had 5 catches for 42 yards. They don't throw to their receivers in the modern NFL. This is some combination of Baker Mayfield's shoulder, his general inclination, combined with Kevin Stefanski's desire to run a 3 tight end offense, and Odell Beckham is gone, and they don't throw to receivers in 2021. It's unbelievable. And you can't, there's no explosive offense when Nick Chubb's not here. Their explosion comes from the run game, and that needs fixed yesterday. And it's partly on Baker, but Kevin Stefanski, I think, has sucked the juice out of this offense. It is a 6-yard pass to the tight end offense for 60 minutes, and that is no way to win in the modern NFL. They got to get that fixed. A lot more. If you like this, try our Orange and Brown Talk podcast. A lot more talk this way with Dan, with Ashley, with Scott, with Mary Kay and me. Thanks for watching here on our YouTube channel for cleveland.com.